Chinese cuisine is among the most popular in the world, and salt has been a big component of Chinese diets.
Historically, actually, it's in China that people discovered that salt could be used to preserve food by making pickles, for example. But now that you have refrigeration technologies, we don't need salt anymore for preservation. But people have kept their habits and their cuisines so that nowadays most of the salt consumed in China is the salt added during cooking in the dishes.
Now evidence that those habits are hazardous. According to new research by Queen Mary University of London, salt intake in China is among the highest in the world. Researchers say over the past 40 years, adults there consume on average about 10 grams of salt every day. That's more than double the amount recommended by the World Health Organization. Monique Tan of Queen Mary University of London was the study's lead author.
The amount of salt we eat has a direct effect on our blood pressure. So the more salt we eat, the higher our blood pressure, and the higher our blood pressure, the greater the strain on our organs, which ultimately leads to heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease, all of which are increasingly important public health issues in China. So nowadays, 40% of all deaths in China are due to cardiovascular disease.
Another finding, Chinese children between 3 and 6 years old are eating the maximum amount of salt typically recommended for adults.
Childhood and adolescence are key periods in the formation of dietary habits and taste preferences. So that's really important to tackle this issue early in life.
Geography also plays a role in China. Turns out there's a clear divide between salt consumption in the north and south.
In northern China, over the past 4 decades, salt intake has declined over time. And this could be thanks to governmental efforts in salt awareness education. This could also be due to improvements over time in the year-round availability of fresh produce so that people don't depend on salt so much.
A more dire outlook in the south, where salt intake is on the rise.
This could be due to all those salt reduction efforts being mitigated by the growing consumption of processed food.
Researchers say potassium salt, which has a similar taste, is a healthy alternative. While sodium increases blood pressure, potassium actually lowers it. The Chinese government has set a goal of reducing national salt intake by 20% by 2030. But ultimately, it will be up to the Chinese consumer to kick the habit. Frances Ko, CGTN.